Will my moon face ever go away? Is it permanent? Am I always going to look like this? Hi, I'm Dr. Megan, prednisone pharmacist, and I wanted to share with you which side effects of prednisone are permanent, irreversible. There's nothing you can do about it once it happens to you, and which ones are possibly reversible. Cross your fingers, it does go away for most people. So let's talk about some of them. Well, first of all, let's talk about moon face, because that is the most obvious physical manifestation that somebody is taking prednisone. Moon face is that puffy fat redistribution where you lose your jawline, you lose your smile lines, and you get this big round face. I'm grateful to announce that I don't have it now because I'm not taking prednisone. Therefore, moon face is reversible. It does go away. But what about other side effects? So some can cause damage that is irreversible. Some can just do things that seem miserable that eventually might go away. So starting at the top, we'll talk about hair. So a lot of people are concerned about hair loss. And when I took prednisone, my hair was just fine until I stopped taking it. 3 months later, I lost a third of my hair. And I normally have very thick hair. And it got thin, like back to a normal person's amount of hair. But for me, it was a real big surprise to see all of this hair coming out in brushes. And that lasted for several months. And then I noticed it started growing back. So that was like in August. And then I noticed it started growing back in about January. And I could see a cute little curl in March. So it is reversible, but it takes a long time for hair to grow, right? So now moving down from hair to eyes. So there are two main side effects on your eyes. And the first one is glaucoma. Glaucoma is the extra pressure in your eyeball that can lead to damage to your retina and lead to blindness if you don't treat it. And hopefully it goes away, but it doesn't always go away. So you definitely want to be working with an eye doctor closely while on prednisone, especially if you're using steroid eye drops. That is when it's the highest risk. That's the first eye side effect. And the second one is cataracts. Now, cataracts is where there's a clouding of your vision because there's damage. It's called a cataract on your lens. It's kind of blocking it, your ability to see. And there's a specific kind of cataract, subcapsular something, that your doctor would recognize. Oh, you must be taking prednisone. It only comes from prednisone, that type of cataract. And so definitely be getting your eyes checked. And this is irreversible. Like there is nothing you can do about that cataract with your natural lenses in your eyes. Like it will not just go away once you stop taking prednisone. Luckily, we live in the day and age where you can have cataract surgery, remove the lens, and replace the lens with a replacement lens, which hopefully works. But, my grandma tried to do that and it didn't take and she went blind. So hopefully it's reversible. And then moving down from the eyes to your heart. So prednisone is pretty hard on your heart. It is trying to help you, like prednisone is mimicking a hormone called cortisol, Mother Nature's fight or flight survival hormone. And it's trying to give you the ability to run away from a really bad situation, whether it's a tiger, a famine, or a war. And so it's trying to help you have the amount of blood pressure needed to run really fast. But you're not running away from any of those things. So you'll have high blood pressure. I normally have quite low blood pressure, and my doctors are always, or at least the nurses are always concerned, hey, that's pretty low. Is that normal? Yeah, that's my normal. But when I was on prednisone, it was high. And I'm an otherwise normal, healthy person. So if you have other risk factors for high blood pressure, it's more likely that it will be high. And that high blood pressure itself does usually go back to normal, whatever your normal was before prednisone. But prednisone leads to damage to the cardiovascular system. You have a 2.5 times increased risk of cardiovascular damage compared to someone who never takes prednisone. And so that damage doesn't go away. Like if there's something happens to your valves, or if you start getting an arrhythmia or something like that, that damage is permanent. It does not go away. So if there's any progression in your cardiovascular disease, that progression is permanent, but the heart blood pressure does reverse. So that's the good news about that one. Now moving down to the adrenal glands. So this is right on top of your kidneys, right below your ribs. And the adrenal gland is what normally produces our stress hormone cortisol, which is what I just told you is what prednisone is mimicking. So when we take prednisone, we're telling the whole system that makes cortisol, called the HPA axis, to turn off. We're like putting a stop to that whole system. And so for most people, the adrenal axis does slowly start turning like a really big, heavy train. The train starts going. And then it's back to normal for most people. But for a small percentage of people, and there are no great studies proving how much it is, whether it's 1%, 0.1%, or 10%, I don't know. For some people, the train never starts going. The adrenal system is basically broken, and that leads to adrenal insufficiency. And so while you might have started taking prednisone for an autoimmune disease or for asthma or for COPD or something, arthritis, whatever it is, it may lead to damage to your adrenal system where it never starts up again. Most people it does. There are some people that it never does. And so you might have started out like at 20 milligrams of prednisone every day for a week or whatever. And then you slowly taper off and you try to get off and you can't get off because now you are dependent on prednisone to save your life. And if you go cold turkey thinking, oh, I'm fine, you won't have the reserves to deal with catastrophic stress, getting in a car accident, having a heart attack. You won't be able to deal with that, and it can lead to death. So you need to always taper off carefully and work with your doctor closely to make sure that your adrenal system does return. And I have a whole bunch of videos all about withdrawal and tapering and strategies to help you with that. All right, now moving down to your hip. The hip joint is a likely place for damage from prednisone. There's two types of damage that can happen. The first one is called osteonecrosis. And osteonecrosis, meaning death, osteo meaning bone. So bone death. That ball joint that inserts into your hip socket, that ball, the top of it can die. And the only solution is a hip replacement to like replace the entire ball into that socket. And that can even happen in young people, even in children, if they're taking prednisone. And so that damage is irreversible. And luckily we live in a time where there are replacement sockets, bones, replacement joints, so that you can still have a quality of life. The other one is osteoporosis. And that's not just this area. That's all of the bones in the body. They're the worst places for it to happen are in your spine, leading to loss of height, in your hip, leading to a broken hip, and just in general, leading to broken bones. And they've done studies showing that if somebody gets a broken hip, they have something like a 50% chance of death within a year of breaking a hip. So this is a terrible outcome that we do not want to do. And it's happening because prednisone is stealing calcium and vitamin D and magnesium and other really essential nutrients from your bones, and it's weakening them. And so we want to do whatever we can to prevent that weakness. And then finally, weight gain. So along with the moon face and the redistribution of fat from your arms to your face, there is weight gain in your belly area and just throughout the body that you would hope is reversible, like pregnancy weight gain. You know, there's a 7-pound baby, you instantly lost 7 pounds, and some of it is reversible. So the water weight gain, like what's causing the blood pressure to go higher, is partly there's more fluid. The body is producing more fluid. It's holding on to more sodium in the kidneys. And once the prednisone is down, that often is reversible. There's a fluid loss and the blood pressure goes down, the water weight goes down. But there's also the fat weight gain. And that is just weight gain that you have to work to lose, like any other weight gain. And so it's not like it is reversible, but it doesn't just go away after you take prednisone. So again, that's another thing that we can be doing something about while taking prednisone. And whether it's your eyes, whether it's your bones, your weight, your blood pressure, your height, or any other factor that is going to be affected by taking prednisone, there are possible things that you can do about it. And I outline all of those in my prednisone checklist. I don't want you to have to suffer these permanent, irreversible side effects. I want you to feel confident that you're doing everything in your power to counteract side effects, to minimize the damage. And so that's why I have my prednisone checklist. All you have to do is click the link below to download it now. And it has my best tips that are evidence-based from the doctors who prescribe prednisone the most and other scientific studies so that you can do whatever you possibly can to minimize the damage, to be following up with the right doctors at the right time so that you can stay as healthy as possible while taking prednisone. Just click the link below to download it now. Signing off as Dr. Megan, your prednisone pharmacist.